On a daily basis, we now wake up and we worry about our friends, our family, our loved ones and ourselves. I can't put my hand on my heart and say that by the end of this year, my family will be intact. I've lived a life where I've not seen a war, I've never been threatened in that way before. It's caught all of us off guard, but one thing that we've got to hold on hard to is that as a species, we are remarkable. We have developed art and science and technology, and we've used that to overcome everything that's been thrown at us. And on top of that, we've advanced that. We sent men to the moon at one point. There is seemingly nothing that we can't achieve when we have to, and now we have to. The human species, for all of its ills, is a pretty fantastic organism. Our bodies are covered with bacteria. We are constantly consuming viruses. It's part and parcel of being a living organism on planet Earth. We are part of a natural community, and those bacteria and viruses are part of that community too. There will be any number of people who will now say, very sadly, we've been predicting and thinking about this for a long time, and we've been manifesting concern about it for a long time, but not putting in the infrastructure and the planning to be able to deal with it. True to human form, we've been caught off guard. Because the human species is incredibly adaptable, intelligent and resourceful, but it's not very good at prevention. It's very important that our decision makers are very vigilant to the greatest breadth of scientific advice that they can possibly take. We shouldn't be taking one person's opinion. We should be looking at a consensus of scientific fact to shape our policies. And in the initial stages of responding to coronavirus in the UK, I think it was apparent that that wasn't happening. And I, just like every one of you, have grave concerns about the impact of that upon our lives. Personally, I have an aged father who is in category 1. He's 87 years old. He's been suffering pneumonia repeatedly. He has a degenerative lung condition. He's a very vulnerable man, and I love him greatly. I would like him to be able to survive this crisis. I have a personal concern, but also, you know, I need us to win. I need us to win because we've got other fights that we have to win. And we can only do that if we can act in a coordinated and intelligent way. And that means we need the right decisions made at the right times. There seems to be an idea that coronavirus is nature's vengeance. It's a conspiracy of life to bite us in the bottom quite hard and teach us a lesson. It's a nice idea, but it's science fiction, not science fact. We've been living alongside these sorts of pathogens since we first evolved. Look at the history of pandemics. They have come and gone, and we've fought them and we've beaten them. This was always going to happen. It's part and parcel of being a living organism on planet Earth. The trees behind me are being attacked by pathogens all of the time. You know, they're being attacked by new ones now because of climate change. The changes that we're impacting on the world, our global connectivity has made us more immediately vulnerable, but it's nothing new. And ultimately, nor is our capacity to beat it. Because we've never lost yet. We're all still here. I'm not saying that we won't lose at some stage in the future, because we've got bigger other problems that we're not dealing with. But our capacity to overcome these sorts of things is profound. We are the planet's greatest survivors. We face a global crisis to which we must all react accordingly. This is not the UK, this is not Europe, this is not the Western world, this is all of the world. And we are beginning to respond. And part and parcel of that response is that we are changing the way that we live. We're changing our minds and our practices. And if you can't change the mind, you can't change the world. And what we are already seeing is changes in our environmental impact. Look at those pollution maps in China. Look at the number of flights that have been cut down. It's going to be very perversely interesting to see how we cope globally with these restrictions. But I think that one of the things that we'll learn is that we were being excessive. that we didn't need to be doing all of those things, and that we can become more efficient, more optimal. We can maximise our capacity to live our lives in a healthy, sustainable way. And prior to this, people were saying, no, we can't do that. It's impossible. You know, I know what you're saying about carbon emissions and consumption and so on and so forth. Proof's in the pudding. We've adapted because that's the sort of species that we are. Corona is tiny, but it's a perceptible problem. It's tangible to us. We cough, we get ill, we become seriously ill. Very sadly, some of us will die. The climate, with its existential nature, was too invisible to too many people, and yet it's there, staring in our face. And what this has proved is that we can react to these things, and we're going to have to react to these things. It's becoming, sadly, increasingly difficult to find integrity, honesty and truth in news. But the one place you can find it is on Double Down News, and therefore I would urge you to sign up on Patreon now. Without the truth, we can't make any progress at all.